Hey, I'm back. This is Chandler for Melda Production, and today I'm going to talk about MRhythmizerMB, or M Multiband Rhythmizer, or MRhythmizer Multiband, depending on what you want to call it. So, people have been asking me, what is the difference between MRhythmizerMB and MRhythmizer? And the simple answer is, it's just a multiband version. But of course, you probably think, okay, what can I do with a multiband version and why would I want it? And so, depending on what you're using it for and, the ideas in your head, you may not need it. But I think it can do lots of interesting things. And so, I'm going to show you why you might want to use it. So, one thing I should say is, if you open up MRhythmizerMB, when you open it up like this, you see it and it looks exactly the same as MRhythmizer. And in fact, it can do everything that MRhythmizer can do. So if you have a single band like this, it's exactly the same. You can just close this little window here and do all the same type of things. So I can just open this, put it on general. I have a little drum loop here, and we can just flick through these and alter the sound as it's playing. So you get the idea. You can do all that kind of repeat stuff. You can also mess with the volumes to create like trance gates, or do the same thing with a filter if you want. So that seems somewhat interesting, but you're thinking, okay, what if I want to use this like multi-band? Just go to the very top instead of here where I enabled general, go to the very top here, and then let's try 3 bands. Okay, so we see the same thing, but if you notice at the top, the bands are split. So here I'm at band 1, here's band 2, here's band 3. By moving these over, you can select where they're split, and you see the frequencies right below. And so we can do the exact same thing, except we can just do the high end or low end. So let's say here, let's start with band 1, and you see this is on the low notes, or the low frequencies, I should say. And so this will mostly be affecting the bass drum. So let's listen to this. Okay, and we can do the same thing to the middle frequencies like this. And last, high frequencies. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to hit solo there. Don't do that. Actually, you can do that if you just want to figure out where the frequencies are. So if I play it and then I move this around, that's really useful for finding the place to split the frequencies, but let's just mess around with this and let's hear the last part. So I'm just affecting the hi-hats. So you can hear basically what that does, and that's a little bit interesting, but for me, that's probably not how I'd use it. I'll show you another preset in here that's maybe more interesting, at least for me. So if you go into here, there's one called echoing. You're wondering, okay, what's the difference between this? It only has about 8 different presets here. But one of the things you'll notice is it has link sequences. And so you'll notice time, volume, and filter all seem to have the same preset names. And since this link sequences is on, when I hit this, the volume and time will both change. And same thing here, change this to 2, 2 is changed here to all of these. So whenever I hit it on any screen, time, volume, or filter, the other 2 will also change to match it. And the same thing you'll notice here, there's a link here. So this means the bands are linked. So now it's on normal. If I move here, they're all on normal. But let's say if I go to echo 2, you notice in band 2, hey, it's also on echo 2. And here, it's also on echo 2. So they all move together, but if you notice, they're all slightly different. So here's time for band 3. Here's time for band 2. Well, it's a little bit different. And here's time for band 1. Well, it's a little bit different here. So when you put these together, it creates very interesting sounds. So here's the normal loop. I don't know why I said loop like that. It sounded a little bit strange. But anyways, here's echo 1. Okay, so that gave you an idea of what this can do, and if you look, each of these has something slightly different on each band, and the volumes and the filters are different, which gives you all sorts of different variations. So it sounds like almost a filtered sound combined with that kind of glitching sound from the time manipulation. So for me, this is really useful for like an intro or maybe like a breakdown in a song, especially if you have a drum loop and you're like, I don't really want to change it, or maybe you can't change it because you got it from somebody else. This will just add a little bit of interest. However, I think the real interesting thing with MRhythmizer MB is using it on pads and not using the time, but using the volume or the filter. So let me mute this and solo this one. So here I just have a pad. Let me make sure this isn't on. I'll just bypass it for a second. Like this. So it's a really basic pad sound. And what I'm going to do here is let's just open up a 3-band version. So now I have this 3-band version, general, and they have all the different, basic presets here. And so let's go about just kind of moving everything. Let's just use the volume here. So let's solo it, and let's listen to this, and let's add one that we think sounds good. Okay, that sounds good for the low end. You saw here I messed with the depth. I thought at 100% it was a little bit too much, but at around 75% it sounded better. Now let's do something for the middle. Let's see here. Let's try something else. There we go. It seems nice for the middle. And you notice I moved this down here to just give me a little bit more room on the top end. So let's do the last one, and let's find something that works here. Okay, now let's hear all of them together. Now that to me sounds a little bit more musical, and one thing I might do is even automate this wet dry. So I can start here with it off and then gradually fade it in like this. So that's something interesting you can do. But let's do something else. So that's kind of interesting, but I think I'll try something else, something with a little bit more stereo. So let's go in here and use panorama. You're thinking, okay, what did that do? But now you see instead of frequencies, it's left, center, and right. So let's move this at 75. Let's move this at 75. So now this will be our right band, this will be our left band, and let's do something similar. Let's try speed up for the right band. I'll let you hear that. Or sorry, the left band, I should say. Now, let's go to the right band here. Solo that, and let's try slow down. Now, let's take it off. Let's leave the middle one just as it is. Let's hear what it sounds like. So now we got a little bit of movement and rhythmic interest in this pad where there wasn't any before, just by using that. And there's one more thing I'll show you as far as stereo goes, and just go into here. Let's try mid-side. Let's try delete one band. Okay, so now we have a mid band and a side band. So let's just solo this mid band so you can hear what it sounds like. Let's turn both of these off first. Here we go. Here's just the mid band by itself. So you can hear it's really centered. It almost sounds like it's mono. Now here's the side band. Now we're going to do something similar with the stereo, but this time, instead of doing the left and right separately, we'll just use the side channels together. And let's try like a transgate. Let me see if there's an interesting one. Maybe something like this. Let's see if this sounds interesting. Okay, that one sounds good. Now let's put them both together and hear what it sounds like. So as you can hear, right down the middle, everything is centered, but on the sides, you know, it's stereo and you have some rhythmic movement. So with this, it's really easy to do things like that. Of course, you can check out some of the other presets in here that have a bunch of different things in here, things you can try and things you can see, because sometimes it's not so obvious how things work. In fact, maybe I'll talk about this. Actually, I'll save it for another video. I know people have been asking me, like, how does the time work? Like, they don't understand this. If you don't understand this, let me know and I'll do another video just covering this and how it works and how the repeats work. But I think this is enough for this video. So I hope this gives you an idea of things you can do with MRhythmizerMB and gives you a good comparison with MRhythmizer. So if you want, you know, the whole thing, you want these types of multi-band breakdowns or the stereo effects, I would say go with MRhythmizerMB. But if you just want just slight glitching or something to add a little bit more rhythmic interest, maybe MRhythmizer is more your speed. So let me know down below if you like this, if you want me to do a video on how to use the time, and if you like this, of course, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and until next time, see you.